Okay. Then Sam lost again, and I want to skip to some certain positions. Okay. So in this position, the engine likes black, and this is like the end of Sam's preparation because Sam played until here very quickly, really quickly. And he has the advantage here. And after this, nobody mentioned it, the players or the commentators, and I barely understand it. But knight b8 is an interesting alternative. And he played knight here. And the reason is you want to play knight a6 and go to c5, especially if white's going to put his rook or his queen there, which he did. And the engine loves black after this. And if I didn't prepare knight b8, there's no way I'm playing it. This just looks too natural. And the engine loves this move. I wouldn't play that. Now this move is fine. There's nothing wrong with that move. c4 is good. And here MVL thought he just had a big advantage. And he expected Sam to play c6, and the engine says black should play c6. And it says this position is equal. Okay, but he played knight g4, which is, it's a ridiculous move. Sorry. It's blocking the king side pawns. It's forcing the rook to the queen side where it wants to go. And if white does play rook e2, for example, which he didn't, then the engine says black should go back here. This move doesn't make any sense. The knight's just bad there. Okay, MVL played the human move, rook b3. Rook df8's fine. So Sam's idea is he wants to take this, king takes, and then play g4. That's the point of knight g4. And he did do that. And here, queen e2 is better than queen e1, but queen e1 is understandable because it attacks this. Okay, b6. And here, MVL made a bad move. The best move, according to the engine, which no human's going to play, is rook here. No human's going to play that. And the idea is I want to play b4. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to take it or not take it, I want, playing a5 and have my rooks there is great. Now, he wanted to play b4, but he played rook b5, which makes more sense to a human. Now play b4. That makes more sense having a rook here than here. The problem is the rook here is doing a good job defending here, and it's not defending here. Mm-hmm. So here's actually better because when Sam does what he did, you want to have your rook here. So then Sam did what he did, which was correct, and now it's a draw. So rook b5, this is a forced draw. And rook a3 or h3, he's much better. And this is all forced. The engine says all these moves are forced. Now, MVL did say he looked at this, and he decided not to do it, and the engine says that move is equal for the reasons MVL said. He said it's really complicated. But he did this, which is more complicated. Now every piece is hanging. Queen's hanging, queen's hanging. So he played queen takes b5, getting a rook instead of not getting a rook for his queen. And then they trade everything, and material's equal. And this position's a draw. And in this position, Sam made two bad moves in a row. Now, the move that's correct here is really difficult for me. I don't think I could play this move. And when they came into the analysis room, the stream, MVL said, I thought Sam would play king d6 here. And that's the best move. And the point is, white wants to play knight e4, so it looks stupid to go here, because it's check. But actually, knight e4, now the king can't go to e4. So it's not clear what white does. White's king can't go forward. White's knight can't go forward. So white's position is good, but he can't do anything, so it's a draw. And what he did was, he played knight d6, and after knight e4, he thought knight takes knight was a draw, so he just played king e7, which loses. Knight e8 is still a draw. You're just chilling. So the king still can't go here. And the engine says, like, white's slightly better, but it's a draw. Because, white's better because the pawns are silly. But there's no way to come in. And instead, Sam played here, and MVL correctly calculated that this wins. Now, this is the position I wanted to start showing you, because this is really interesting. And this actually reminds me of the ending we just looked at. I already forgot who was playing because I'm old. Yeah, Wesley. Yeah, the Wesley winning this king and pawn ending. Okay, so he played c takes. Let's look at king takes, and this is MVL's analysis that I'm stealing. I also have an engine going, but in this position, this is an amazing move. He said, I was planning on playing king f5. This didn't happen. And the engine move is to play king f5. And the reason is, if you take this, which is also good, this pawn queens would check. But if you play this, the pawn doesn't queen would check. So that's better. And this is his analysis. And he said, I should win here. And it was funny. In this position, this is what he saw after king f5 when he was analyzing it before. He said, if you take this pawn, queen here, check wins. If you take this pawn, queen here, check wins. However, this move, the game still goes on, this check. And therefore, it's likely that king e6 might be better, which is a funny move because it allows this and blacks up a pawn, but everybody thought this ending was winning for white. And it is winning for white. Because when we trade queens and I win this, your king's way over there. That'd be funny, playing king f5, not taking the pawn, then king e6, not taking the pawn. Yeah, because this pawn's annoying. Yeah, now the king is safe, you can't really check him. So this is winning, yeah. So he was right. King f5 isn't the only winning move, but it's amazing not to take this pawn because the pawn's queening would check. Okay, so in the game, he took with the pawn, then b3, and now black is in zugzwang because you have to stop that, and the only way to do it is to have your king on one of these three squares. However, when I play c5, you can't take with the b pawn because I queen. Take with the d pawn, this pawn's not defended. It's defended now, that's why you're in zugzwang. And Maurice points it out, possibly correctly even, possibly, that this was a mutual zugzwang. So if black had played here and white had played here, he was claiming if it's white's move, white's not winning. I think he's right. If it's black's move, he moves his king and lets this happen, or he moves his king here and lets this happen. If it's white's move, white can't move. White goes back and, yeah. So I think Maurice is right. This is, okay. So Sam played king g6, c5. Now, everybody thought this was happening, which does win, but MVL played here, which also wins. Yeah, and this was his idea. And what's funny is Sam played e4, which is what he looked at. If you play king e8, you have to play king here, threatening this. So you have to play here. And then you take. And now this is the funny part. And I was like yelling at the TV when Karen and I were watching on TV. Is if you play like random move like here to try to queen, instead of taking this, which wins, this is better because this is mate. King on c6 stops the king from moving. King c5 also wins, but winning with mate, and then they made a rook on their stream. Okay, so instead, Sam played e4. Now this is funny because king takes e4, I think loses. Yeah, now black's winning. And truth hurts. Okay, but obviously he saw. Okay, now we're both queening. And then we both queen, black's going to lose all these pawns. That's unfortunate. Yeah, these pawns are terrible. And this pawn's really good. And he played king a7, exclam, former muscle. Because he just wants to queen. He can take the pawn if he wants. Can't trade queens because I queen too quickly. Right, now he has a passed pawn. See, Sam did pretty good. Nice pawn, yeah. Queen c7 check is a very interesting move because the king here is fine. The king on this rank or this rank is not fine. Obviously, it's not fine here because I'm queening with check. So you have to move the king up. Then he played here, and yeah, now there's nothing you can do. You can't. This pawn's hanging. This pawn's queening. And if you take this pawn and defend that pawn, then I just queen. You're not threatening the queen.
I think we missed a raid.
I don't think anybody raided.
I think maybe Spencer did.
Nobody raided.
I've seen some.
It didn't make any noise?
There's no notification on our end. Mm-hmm. But people were saying raid, and then they were saying hey to Spencer. Oh. So that was just maybe an idea.
It could be a Spencer
raid.
Oh,
you tried to raid. Yeah, it didn't notify on this end.
Yeah, it might have, and I missed it.
I didn't see it when you just scrolled up.
Let's see.
Well, thanks for the raid. Or the almost raid.
Nope, it doesn't say he raided. We're looking, here it tells you.
Yeah, it was acting glitchy yesterday.
Yeah. Did anybody see the raid? Go Spencer.
Mm-hmm. It is a thought that counts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good enough. Yeah, go Spencer. Spencer just finished his 4-hour stream. Yeah. So here Sam resigned and then some. Mm-hmm. All right.